I'm Shane Rodriguez, a faculty member here at the Massachusetts School of Law, and I hereby call the 32nd annual commencement exercise of the Massachusetts School of Law to order. On behalf of the Dean of the Law School, the Board of Trustees, faculty, guests, and our distinguished guests, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you to the commencement exercise for the graduating class of 2021. Congratulations to you all. All of us here at the law school are extremely proud of you for reaching this milestone. And I want to take a moment to personally recognize all of you for your hard work, your preparation, and your commitment to excellence. As you move forward in preparation for the bar exam or as a new attorney, have faith in your law school preparation and yourselves. Good luck, and God bless you all. I've also been asked to deliver the invocation, and I would now ask that all of you bow your heads in a moment of prayer and reflection. Lord, we bow our heads in thanks and appreciation for keeping us safe to reach this day of great accomplishment. Lord, please look over these graduates as they enter into our great profession and as they begin this service to their communities. Amen.
Welcome everyone, but most especially the 2021 graduating class of the Massachusetts School of Law. Your graduation is anything but ordinary. That is only fitting, as you are anything but ordinary graduates. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary lawyers. Challenges, change, and achievement. Because of your wisdom and perseverance in the face of daunting challenges, you are well prepared to be extraordinary lawyers. In facing your challenges, you have demonstrated to the world how deep your commitment to justice for all truly is, and your readiness to fight for those whose voices wouldn't otherwise be heard. In a time of terrible losses, you have achieved much. The true start of your lifelong dream begins now. Some of you finished your law school classes in your childhood bedrooms, while others searched for empty, child-free spaces for a little bit of privacy with a laptop or your smartphone. It would have been far, far easier to walk away from your dream, as many others did somewhere along the journey. Be it that terrible adjustment first year. You remember those first year courses. The hectic pace of the second year, when you knew Heartbreak Hill was coming, with evidence, con law, and all of that. Or the last year, where you faced obstacles that no one should have had to face in the last year, but especially those who were in law school, struggling to be able to meet that finish line that seemed so close. But then the gods laughed and said, "Hold my beer," and the world changed yet again. You changed over the course of your law school career. The world changed. Hopefully, our justice system has begun to change. Our profession is a profession in service to others. With the conferral of your Juris Doctorate today, it truly is our profession. Welcome to our profession. We provide a voice to those marginalized voices who, through animosity or indifference, face grave injustice. Great lawyers serve their communities with commitment and sacrifice. That service now requires high tech, and even in this age of social distancing, high touch. A lawyer's service touches lives, changes them, and helps bring people through the most difficult times they will ever face. Sound familiar? It's why law school is so difficult to complete. In law school, you learn many, many things. During your time in law school, you learned the most important life lessons of all. Believe in yourself. And work plus desire equals success. You have been tested in traditional and untraditional ways. You have sacrificed. You did not falter. No obstacle was too great, no mountain too high, and no challenge insurmountable. The achievement is yours, and so well deserved. Venibas, vidisti, vicisti. challenges, change, and achievement. Go out and do good. Represent your clients with the same level of commitment, perseverance, and tenacity you exercised in achieving your dream, your Juris Doctorate degree. Fear nothing and no one. Despite the challenges, you stood tall. The hard-fought victory is now yours. Enjoy it today. After you enjoy this achievement, spend your life fighting injustice and being the voice for those whose voices are too often ignored. Answer their cries for justice. You have proven you can overcome extraordinary obstacles. Now go do that for others. Congratulations. Godspeed on your journeys. Let us turn to our invited guests and recognize their many accomplishments and hear Bill Cummings' commencement remarks.
Dean Coyne, distinguished faculty, parents, family members, friends, and all of you brand new graduates. Bill and I are deeply appreciative and offer our sincere thanks for these very special degrees, making us honorary members of the Massachusetts School of Law Class of 2021. Especially following this extraordinarily challenging year, it is indeed an honor and a pleasure for us to greet you and to deliver this one final lecture. We wish we could be with you in person and to see your smiling faces, as we know this is a day of great rejoicing. Alas, it is not possible. But after 18 or more years of formal schooling, welcome to your new noble profession. Bill?
To get us off on the right foot, let me add that while my part of this talk will not be the best lecture you've ever heard, it will likely be one of the shortest. And if I really talk fast, maybe I can complete my role in the requested 10 or 12 minutes. After these last 15 stressful months, you all deserve brief, lighthearted remarks today. You may even notice Joyce kicking my leg a little bit if I start running overtime. Having much in common with many of you, I will share that more than 6 decades ago, I worked my way through Tufts University. There was never a time while in school that I did not also work outside. And during summer vacations, I vacationed by averaging 60 to 70 hours each week. Immediately following my 1958 graduation, I had hoped to attend Harvard Business School, but I was summarily rejected there. Thereafter, I was even more motivated to do well without any advanced degree. My first post-graduation job in corporate America paid a very modest salary. It was not at the $270 an hour or so that some of you might expect to be billed out by law firms or wherever you are, or $270 a day. It wasn't $270 a week either, $270 per month. So it was not viewed as necessarily a really great coup on my part, but I was sure happy to get it. That salary per se was certainly short money at first, but I did have a position in a nationally known sales and marketing program, peddling Vicks Vapor Rub and doing promotional work all over this fine country of ours. And the company provided me with an expense account. I had a 7-day expense account to pay for everything and a brand new company car. My position allowed me to scrimp and save a bit as well, and I totally avoided any temptations of debt. For the first 6 months, I spent every single night, 7 nights a week, on the road. The job was so much more than a job. It was so much fun than graduate school would ever have been. It was a perfect job for a naive but ambitious 21-year-old who had hardly ever before left his hometown. In 1964, using the money I saved while working for Vicks and then selling fish for Gorton's of Gloucester, It was time for me to become the entrepreneur that I always knew I wanted to be. I felt I was born to be an entrepreneur. I purchased a small, 100-year-old food products manufacturing firm that my dad happened to know about. The negotiated purchase price was a scant $4,000 total, so I didn't get much. And I paid it to an absentee owner who was initially asking for $40,000, but most of all, he just wanted out. It was so much easier in business, and it always will be, when you know how to save money and have even a few dollars, by the way, and be able to know how to buy things right. Dad, who was a house painter, had talked to me repeatedly. He taught the importance of recognizing opportunities when they came along, and then, most importantly of all, taking advantage of them. Yes, graduates, recognize the opportunities that come your way, and then do something. Thereafter, and following my dad's great example, I continued to work really, really hard. I loved it. I totally rebuilt that tiny Old Medford Food Products. It was a fruit punch business. That's all we made starting out was Old Medford Fruit Punch. It was a business that absolutely nobody else wanted any part of it. All the time I was having so much fun, I couldn't wait for each new day to start. It was also about the same time that Joyce and I were starting out together. We met, by the way, when I was doing a sales call at the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary in Boston, where Joyce was the staff dietitian. After 6 years, I sold Old Medford and received a little more than $1 million. And that $1 million was all profit because I only had $4,000 in it. And it was in $1970, and I was on my way. The commercial real estate development firm that I then formed is Cummings Properties in Woburn, Massachusetts. And along with several hundred long-term colleagues, we built a portfolio of some 10 or 11 million square feet of fine, debt-free space. Today, that space is leased to something more than 2,000 commercial and professional clients, all north of Boston, and probably includes several dozen lawyers. We also run Cummings Foundation, which Joyce and I founded together in 1986. The majority of the organization's properties have all been fully donated to Cummings Foundation, and the foundation's assets today are something well over $2 billion. I am pleased to tell you that we have lots of lawyers on our staff, and they add so much to our capabilities. In addition to our 4-lawyer in-house legal department, there are another 10 full-time attorneys in various other management positions throughout the firm. That situation did not happen according to any particular plan, but it is interesting by comparison. I know of only 3 or possibly 4 colleagues in the firm's entire history who have ever held MBA degrees. Lawyers fit so well with our real estate management organization, and I'm sure you will find that they fit very well with other similar firms as well. The organization has done fabulously well over a half-century now, and we make a wonderful case for the huge value of strong in-house counsel. The secret is that we have plenty of problems to be resolved with 2,000 tenants, but so very often these issues and the cases just repeat themselves. The same or very familiar and very similar fact patterns usually lead to very similar results. Don't forget that your writing and analytical skills, graduates, can be as useful in any business environment as they will be in any courtroom. Wherever you find yourselves, graduates, keep growing these skills. There's a little book called Elements of Style by Strunk and White, and it promotes clear, accurate, and concise writing. My favorite quote from this book has special application, I think, with attorneys. And the quote is that extra words in a sentence are very much like extra parts in a lawnmower. From a lawyer's point of view, extra words can be worse than useless. And if you have time to do it, consider writing a book. I waited until I was nearly 80 to begin writing, starting small and making it big, but it has absolutely added an entire new dimension to my life. A recent highlight was working closely with Harvard Business School to create one of its newest case studies. And this study is now being used in dozens of other institutions as well. The introduction of Bill Cummings, The Cummings Way, at Harvard was especially meaningful, as you can well imagine, following my not quite yet forgotten rejection 60 years earlier. Folks, as you prepare for your final departure into the world beyond Andover, be ready for the many twists and turns that life will invariably bring. Some of you will go directly from here to your dream jobs, and you may never look back. Most of you, however, will have more than one employer before you find just what you want elsewhere, or perhaps you start your own firm. If you do find yourself in a position that you decide is not the right fit, I have one specific piece of advice. For every day that you might remain in the firm where you don't want to remain, seek out the opportunities. There's that word again. Opportunities to learn or home in on better skills and more skills. Look for opportunities to make connections, opportunities to make a difference. If you are not happy with any job, it's always okay to leave. But do it gracefully when you find a better spot. But until you do, keep working as hard and as smartly as you can. You don't want to be the office malcontent. Just don't let those days go to waste. Don't expect great success without hard work either. Honor and respect the dignity and the worth of all people. Build friendships? Yeah, build them by being a friend. With this last lecture, class of 2021, Joyce joins me in asking all of you to remember that when prejudice and intolerance are tolerated, they are implicitly condoned and encouraged as well. Use your education to help restore this great battered land of ours, which needs so much rebuilding, social rebuilding right now. America may need bridges over rivers and highways, but even more right now, we need bridges of hope, bridges of love, and bridges of understanding. Help build bridges of growth and bridges of opportunity for everyone you can. In closing, thank you everyone for having us today. We wish you all Godspeed as you take your leave. Go forth, find your next opportunity, and then act on it. Congratulations, everyone.
Joyce and Bill Cummings established Cummings Foundation in 1986. At that time, the commercial real estate firm Bill founded shortly after they got married, Cummings Properties, was thriving, and they decided they wanted to give back to their community. Over the years, Joyce and Bill donated the large majority of Cummings Properties' commercial property to the foundation. Today, nearly all of the buildings managed by Cummings Properties are owned by and operated for the sole benefit of the Cummings Foundation. Cummings Foundation is one of the largest private foundations in New England and has awarded more than $300 million in grants to Greater Boston nonprofits alone. Its giving is concentrated in Middlesex, Essex, and Suffolk counties and benefits a broad range of causes, including human services, education, healthcare, and social justice. This area and these causes are important to them, as Bill and Joyce have never forgotten their more modest beginnings. Bill grew up in a one-bedroom flat in Medford, and Joyce grew up in Alabama. They met when Joyce was working as a dietitian at Mass Pioneer Infirmary. The Cummings also have a special interest in Rwanda, where the foundation collaborates with partners in health and a limited number of other organizations to aid in that East African country's post-genocide recovery and rebuilding. Joyce and Bill quietly contributed to the local community for many years before being the first in Massachusetts to join others in the Giving Pledge, an organization founded by Bill and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett, through which some of the world's wealthiest individuals and couples have publicly pledged to donate at least half of their assets for philanthropic purposes. Bill and Joyce have already donated 90% of their wealth. Bill recently recounted his lessons from business and philanthropy in his self-written memoir, Starting Small and Making It Big. It's a good book. And then through a book tour that brought him to educational institutions near and far, from across the street of his native Medford to Harvard University, to MIT, to Duke, to the University of Alabama, the University of Rwanda, and the University of Oxford in England. Cummings Properties has provided a copy of that book to all of the graduates who would like a copy. Just contact us. They have shown through too many good deeds and actions to fully recount here that they are deeply committed to their community, social justice, education, justice, equality of opportunity, and equality for all. We are honored that they would share this day with us. Because their deeds so closely embody the mission of the Massachusetts School of Law, it is our privilege to award them these degrees. Joyce, it is my pleasure to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, for all the many, many, many works that you've done, your philanthropic efforts, and especially your efforts on behalf of both Rwanda and our own community here. We couldn't be more pleased that you'd accept this award from us.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it.
Joyce, now I want to provide you the doctoral hood, signifying the degree that you have so earned today. Congratulations.
Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you.
It's a very special moment.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and the Department of Higher Education, who have conferred upon us the authority to grant degrees, it is my pleasure to grant to you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, because of your many efforts in business, philanthropy, on behalf of the people of Rwanda, as well as the people of our communities here, and the causes that you so ably have helped to represent and support. It is our pleasure to confer this degree upon you.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And Bill, to signify your conferral of the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, I now give you your doctoral hood, signifying the degree.
Thank you very much again,
Congratulations, Bill. Congratulations.
It's been nice to be with you today.
Well, it's been lovely, and thank you for your efforts. Dean Caldas and Dean Sullivan will introduce our two Sullivan Scholar recipients, Jillian M. Parent and Caitlin E. Lipka. Dean Caldas?
Good afternoon. I have the honor of introducing Jillian Parent. I met Jillian when she was in my writing and legal advocacy class last year. Her assignments were well written, clearly organized, and researched thoroughly. As a result of her hard work, excellent writing, and oral advocacy skills, she received the Best Brief Award as part of our in-house advocacy competition. In my classes, Jillian was always cooperative and courteous with others, even when she was placed in an advocate's role. She's hardworking, compassionate, and has respect for others. I am impressed with her competence, intelligence, and integrity, and am convinced she will succeed in anything she does. Jillian currently resides in Westminster, Massachusetts, and grew up in Leominster, where she graduated from Leominster High School. She attended Endicott College in Beverly before transferring to Fitchburg State to be closer to home. She graduated summa cum laude from Fitchburg State with a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice and was also awarded the Criminal Justice Academic Achievement Award. She came to MSL after working a number of years in various law enforcement agencies. Aside from law school, she is devoted to her family, husband Michael and two kids, Chloe, who is 5, and Brody, who is 3. The family has 2 dogs, a corgi named Callie and a Newfoundland named Odin. As a family, they spend time enjoying the lake that they live on. During her time at MSL, Jillian became certified as a student practitioner under Rule 303 of the Supreme Judicial Court, interned with Committee for Public Counsel attorney and fellow MSL alum, Len Crossman, secured an internship at the Massachusetts Sexual Offender Registration Board, and then a judicial internship with MSL alum, the Honorable Judge Joanna Rodriguez. Juvenile law is her passion, and she aspires to work within the juvenile justice system as a lawyer and hopefully a judge one day.
Good afternoon, Deans Coyne, Sullivan, and Caldas, trustees, honored guests, faculty, and staff. To all those watching from home without fast forwarding through these speeches, and congratulations to the incredible class of 2021. Today is our day. I know this isn't the graduation we may have pictured, but we made it, and it is my honor to address you. And while I'm nervous standing up here giving this speech, it's nothing compared to facing the triumvirate, Coyne, Sullivan, and Devlin for an interdisciplinary project. The class of 2021's journey to this day hasn't been easy. School-wise, there have been roadblocks like the Uniform Commercial Code, checkpoints in the form of mini bar exams, and a mountain to climb named comparison. While the finish line is in sight, we still have the final lap, the bar exam. And like with any journey that lasts 3+ years, there have been hardships and heartbreak. Like all of us, I've been tested. My son was diagnosed with autism during my first year of law school. Then, one morning, I received a phone call that my husband was in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. Suddenly, our family was facing a traumatic brain injury, broken bones, and a later diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. And of course, with COVID-19, we were all thrust into a world of remote learning and constant changing policies. My story is not uncommon to our diverse class. Among the class of 2021 are students who overcame job loss, the death of immediate family members, and the challenges of mental illness and financial insecurity. But classmates have transformed themselves from housewife to legal scholar, from challenged veteran to advocate for others, and from struggling immigrant to an MSL success story. And on the whole, hard workers who faced challenge then used it to embody MSL's mission of social advocacy to improve the lives of others. Seriously, your struggles have not gone unnoticed. I hear you, the world hears you, and you deserve all the validations and salutations. Class of 2021, while I'm honored to speak on your behalf, the truth is, it could be any of us delivering this speech. As we are all here in the same maroon robes, all driving the same circle and getting the same diploma. So to my fellow graduates, congratulations. I am so proud and honored to be standing beside you, albeit 6 feet apart. We deserve to celebrate today. Like all of the MSL graduates who have gone before us, we have proven that like iron, we only get stronger when tested. After today, we will take what we learned at MSL into the world, but the friendships made here and the staff who supported us will remain, as will MSL, as a light in our world that sustains us and a beacon that guides us home. I'd like to leave you with 5 life lessons to take from MSL. Now pay attention. As Professor Rodriguez would say, this is important. Number 1, there is never any excuse to not do your best or to be late. That being said, Dean Sullivan is taking attendance today, and if you weren't here by noon, no diploma. Number 2, when you're sitting in your fancy law office one day and Professor Dimitriadis appears, she's not there bearing gifts. It means you have a pop quiz. I suggest you start studying now. Seriously, this is a lesson for real life, because whether it's Professor D, a judge, or a boss, no matter your response, even if it's verbatim, you still may get a 2 out of 10, but you pass the class, get over it, and move forward anyway. Number 3, never forget major names like Lefebvre, Palsgraf, and Cardozo, but commit to memory the more significant legal scholars, Malaguti and Capani. Number 4, if you don't know the answer, just say those 2 sexy words, it depends. And some things, whether it's how long it will be before we receive our comp section scores or when the world will return to normal, There may never be an answer. It really all just depends. And lastly, number 5, if you're gonna fail, don't try to delegate or assign your disaster to someone else. If you're going to fail, go big. Do it comp contract style and let the curve carry us all. So class of 2021, I bid you farewell. To our professors and administration, thank you for your knowledge, example, and leadership. And again, to our class, congratulations on this amazing achievement. I wish you nothing but the best in the final leg of your journey, and may you cross that finish line with triumph and success. Thank you.
Honorees, family, friends, good afternoon. 2021 graduates of the Massachusetts School of Law, congratulations. Be proud of your accomplishments, yourself, your family, colleagues, and your education. As you move forward, hold sacred your name, morals, family, and your love of learning. Be a person of action, doing what it takes to get the job done. It has been my pleasure to teach and to know you. Through the years, I've had the great privilege of introducing several class speakers. Although everybody's story is different, most class speakers had the same attributes. Caitlin Lipka is different. Sure, she's super smart, well-prepared, and one of the hardest workers in the room. But Caitlin also possesses the grace of humility. She is a calm warrior, speaking up for children and other vulnerable members of society. She's a poised leader committed to charity and justice, embodying integrity while advocating for those who cannot do this for themselves. When I think of Caitlin, I will think back to her days in my women's issues class. Caitlin was the voice of reason in the back row. Last summer, during the height of COVID, when I logged on to Zoom for UCC, Caitlin was generally among one of the first students to appear, attending from various locations trying to find a quiet place to attend. She realized that she was responsible for her education and that knowledge is power. Although she's a strong athlete, she realized the smart defeat the strong. Suffice it to say, Caitlin has received numerous academic awards, played college basketball, and engaged in community service. Please join me now in welcoming Caitlin Lipka to the stand, and again, congratulations to all of you. Today is your day.
Thank you, Dean Sullivan, for such kind words. Good evening, class of 2021, distinguished faculty, and to all of our loved ones watching from home. Before beginning, I would like to take this time to thank Dean Coyne, Assistant Dean Caldas, Assistant Dean Sullivan, and our remarkable faculty for providing me with the opportunity to speak with you here today. It truly is an honor to address you on our graduation day. Well, class of 2021, we did it. We have accomplished an extraordinary feat in our lives. But this accomplishment did not come easily. Throughout the past 3 years, we have endured many hardships. We have read thousands of cases, taken endless notes, and studied for countless hours. But today, I'm not going to speak to you about the hardships we faced. Rather, I'd like to take this time to highlight the memories we all share as the class of 2021. On our first day of law school, many of us sat down in civil procedure with Dean Coyne. Dean Coyne walked in, Heavenly Donuts coffee in hand, and lectured on civil procedure. I sat there, as I'm sure many of us did, not understanding a single word he preached. The day continued, our exhaustion grew heavily, and eventually we found ourselves walking into business entities with Professor Devlin. And little did we know what we were getting ourselves into. Professor Devlin started class with a sarcastic joke. Shocking, I know. And as my fellow graduates understand, there was a constant, overwhelming fear on the first day of the Socratic method. Well, that fear came to light in business entities. The rapid-fire questioning began, and I prayed that my name would not be called. Fast forward to late afternoon, and many of us sat in criminal law with Professor Rodriguez. We soon learned that Professor Rodriguez was a stickler for the elements of the crimes, and I mean a very big stickler. At one point, I believe I missed a single word in a definition and received a 0 on a quiz. After that first day of law school, I remember thinking, what in the world did I just get myself into? Our first class of our second semester was contracts with Professor Sullivan. And from the rumors around school, I entered the classroom petrified of Professor Sullivan. For those of you who don't know, Professor Sullivan has a reputation of being extremely tough, to say the least. Class began and Professor Sullivan went down the roll call, cold calling each individual. And you would think by the time you're in your second semester, cold calling becomes easier. Well, it doesn't. But as the first year continued, our confidence grew unknowingly, and in a blink of an eye, our second year of law school was beginning. We then entered constitutional law with Professor Malaguti. Professor Malaguti lectured on original and appellate jurisdiction. I sat there, trying to decipher what seemed like a foreign language at the time. But second year continued, and before we knew it, we were entering our final year of law school. After being given the honor to speak here today, I sat down and I began writing. That was the moment I was finally able to understand the method to each professor's madness. Dean Coyne continuously repeated the hearsay definition to engrave it in our minds. Professor Rodriguez was a stickler for the elements to ensure that we knew them perfectly. Professor Sullivan demanded that each student state the facts of the case to build our confidence. Professor Devlin made sarcastic jokes towards us to toughen us up for this incredibly hard profession we decided to enter. And Professor Malaguti made us do thousands of problems to assure we understood present estates and future interests. And as many of us enter our bar exam preparation, we will all be extremely grateful for that. As much as I express my gratitude and appreciation towards our incredible faculty, I believe it is equally as important to thank our families. We thank you for your constant support, for dealing with us on our not-so-good days, for listening to audio recordings on long car rides, and hearing us state the same definition 50 times in a row. But most importantly, I want to thank my family specifically. To my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my boyfriend, my grandparents, my aunts, uncles, cousins, and many more. I could not have been in the position I am today without you. As many of you are likely unaware, I suffered a medical emergency my first year of law school and was out of law school for 2 weeks. And if it wasn't for my family, I truly do not believe I would have been able to find the strength to continue. And I thank you all, more than you will ever know, for providing me with such strength. But today is a day of celebration. Celebrate with your family, your friends, and your fellow graduates. But this graduation is not an end goal in itself. This graduation is instead a part of a larger journey each of us will take. Though our journeys may be different, today we celebrate our accomplishments together as one. Wherever your future may take you, just let it take you somewhere. Life is a journey, and each accomplishment we achieve during its course should be taken as starting points for future achievements. Our graduation today should serve as a launching point, projecting us to wherever our futures are meant to take us. Today, I would like to end with one of my favorite quotes by Maya Angelou. You can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing, and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2021.
We also want to recognize the 2021 Dean's Award recipients who, from the time they arrived on campus, stood out both in our classrooms and in our community. They enriched our community by their selfless acts and serve as the best of what the Massachusetts School of Law represents. We are very proud to call them our graduates. This year's Dean's Award winners are Savmaya George and Dennis A. King, Jr. Now, let us turn to the most important part of this year's graduation ceremony. By the authority vested in the Massachusetts School of Law, by the Department of Higher Education, and on behalf of the Massachusetts School of Law Board of Trustees as its authorized representative, I am hereby authorized to confer upon all eligible candidates the degree of Juris Doctor, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto, upon the following candidates: Alicia Nicole Battalato, Antonio Calvano, Chaz Chandler, Darlene A. Chapdelaine, Catalina Satavari Keem, Annabelle C. De Oliveira, Ken Donahue, cum laude, Stephen J. Duga, Solange L. Hashem, Chelsea Farrell, Christopher Fantroy, Anna Fitzgerald, Teresa R. Freeman, Adam P. Galvin, Savmaya George, Anthony Gray, Alejandro Grulin, Renee Candace Hamilton, cum laude, Jessica M. Hoy Flaherty, Habiba Adohu, Peter C. John, J. Matthew Jones, Max S. Casper, Dennis A. King Jr., cum laude, George Karitzi, Gifty Karanki, Christy Alexa Cranes, Joseph E. Lavalli, Caitlin E. Lipka, cum laude, Jacqueline Striano Lucia, Douglas Earl Luther, cum laude, Patricia A. Mahoney, Diego Martin, cum laude, Jillian M. Parent, magna cum laude, Lynn Allison Parker, Cassandra Ashley Pozovitsky, Louis A. Perez, Adelan Pesmania, Hiliana Santos, Brianna Prudence Sapienza, Tristan C. Shannon, Scott C. Sherman, cum laude, Amanda Kate Silvera, Dion Knowles Tarantino, Eric Tuber, Ted Telemark, Jared M. Wimberly, Richard Herbert Ziobro. This is the 2021 graduating class of the Massachusetts School of Law. Congratulations all. I now call on Professor Capani to deliver our closing remarks.
Graduates of the class of 2021, once again, congratulations. I am Professor Anthony Capani, and I begin my closing remarks by stating the obvious. It's unfortunate that we cannot be gathered together to celebrate this joyous occasion that you've worked so hard and sacrificed so much to achieve. At this point in your graduation ceremony, you would have already received your diplomas, and you would be very anxious to leave here in order to celebrate with your family and friends. But obviously, this year is different. Now, delivering closing remarks can be a painful experience for the both of us. Let me explain. It's painful for you because the last thing you want to hear from me are more words of wisdom. It's painful for me because I don't have any words of wisdom to share. And whatever message I deliver, I'm sure will be forgotten by most of you by the end of this virtual graduation. But even under the circumstances brought about COVID-19, I encourage you to embrace this virtual graduation. After all, this should be your last commencement exercise, virtual or otherwise. And now, speaking on behalf of your family and friends, this is your last commencement. It's time for you to get a job. Your days of being a professional student are over. Now, graduates, I could tell you that you're going to change the world, but I'm not going to say that because I've had many of you in class and I just don't foresee that happening. Now, in my past closing remarks, I have stated a reoccurring theme, which is when you leave here as graduates of the class of 2021, nothing is going to change. Instead of professors challenging you in the classroom, it's now going to be the judges challenging you in the courtroom. Instead of spending endless hours preparing for examinations, unfortunately, you will now spend countless hours preparing for trial. Instead of waiting in agony for the results of your exams, you're now going to wait anxiously for the verdict of the jury. So you see, the more things change, the more they do stay the same. But graduates, you have changed. Law school is an experience that has changed you forever. Because of your dedication to the study of the law, you will not think the same. You will not act the same. Fundamentally, you will not be the same. Graduates, not only have you changed, the world has fundamentally changed. It's changed the manner by which we interact with one another, the manner by which our institutions of higher learning deliver content to its students, the manner by which attorneys and litigants alike interact with the court system. But as a society, we will adapt to these changes, whether seen or unforeseen. Now, while these changes are inevitable, the lasting effect of COVID-19 is the acceleration of technology in our interaction with one another. While there may be many advantages to this transition, the major disadvantage is that we diminish personal contact with one another, which is the very essence of our existence. You graduates will be called upon to apply the skills that you have developed to safeguard and protect our civil liberties moving forward. Now, graduates, we feel confident that when we send you forth this day as lawyers, you will take with you the discovery that in life, there may not be any such thing as the right answer. At best, there may exist a process of analysis. You have learned that learning takes place when you find out for yourself. The more we told you, the less you learned. As professors, we were there merely to guide, to help, to goad, to irritate, and to stimulate. And by the way, Dean Diane Sullivan managed to accomplish all of these in just one class. Now, as a new attorney, you must start over once again. I ask that in your practice that you are compassionate, especially when representing the less fortunate members of our society. Do not be preoccupied initially with financial rewards. Your duty, your obligation, is to be concerned with becoming a highly competent, skilled, and effective attorney. Your success, both professional and financial, will follow. And you will be sought after by clients and attorneys alike for your counsel and guidance. In closing, I wish to relate a story, and it's a story that the faculty has heard many times before. But no matter how hard I try to improve upon it or to think of a different message to guide you in your future endeavors, I am woefully unsuccessful. And as I get older, this story becomes even more meaningful. It's a story of which I lay no claim of authorship, as it's a story told by Zachary Clements, a professor at the University of Vermont. His real name is Zachariah Clementi, and he talks about his grandfather who raised him after his father was killed in World War II. His grandfather was from Italy, and his name was Fortunato Clementi. Now, Fortunato worked as a laborer with the pick and shovel for the railroad. And even after his grandfather worked all day, when he came home, he would go out to the garden and continue to work with his pick and shovel. Zach's grandfather was permanently bent over from constantly working so hard. His face was like mahogany, his hands like leather. Now he would call over to Zach to join him in the garden, and he would begin to philosophize. And it's a philosophy that I would like to share with you. He would yell over in Italian to Zach, "Salve tutti, vieni qua." Know-it-all, come here. His grandfather would then say to Zach, "Capisci che tu salve tutti." You know we have everything. Zach would think to himself, "Grandpa, what do you mean? We don't even own the yard that you plant your garden. You have one cheap, shiny blue suit that you wear on Sundays with your medallion and your old fedora hat. We don't have anything. What are you talking about?" And it was as though his grandfather could read his mind. He would say, "Tu tieni a sola, a luna, e a cielo." We have the sun, the moon, and the heavens. Ma che meglio, figlio mio, but more importantly, my son. Tu tieni a famiglia, tu tieni amore, e che meglio di tutti, tu tieni a vita. We have family, we have love, and most important of all, we have life. So graduates, no matter how successful you become, always remember the importance of life and family in balancing your career. And when the end comes, as it must for all of us, and your energies and physical abilities are gone, and even the greatest thoughts you once had begin to fade in the misty past, hopefully there is someone who loves you, someone who cares, someone who is family. And I hope you'll be able to say, if I had to do it all over, this is what I would do again. I salute and congratulate you, and I leave you with the words to a Beatles song, the title of which is, "You Say Goodbye and I Say Hello." As professors, we say goodbye to you, all graduates. As future colleagues, we say hello. Once again, congratulations.